Sitting here going over notes.
Oh, well, we were at a party. Ooh, ah. As air low fell in the deep. Someone reached and grabbed it. Ooh, ah. It was a rock lobster.
You're listening to nothing important.
Rock lobster.
Please enjoy the show. That's great. That works.
This is the Nothing Important Podcast. Insert witty tagline here. My name is Brian, and with me, as always, is my congressional running mate, Dave. Dave, how's it going today, buddy?
I'm going to make you a lot of promises.
How many do you plan to keep?
They may come true. They may not come true. They may come true. We'll have to see if I get elected. But I can guarantee you this. You're going to complain about everything I do.
Right on. Dave and I also host the Better Call Saul podcast. You can find that at www.itsallgoodmen.com on iTunes. Make sure that you hit that up and make sure you keep spreading the word and review this very podcast. So, Dave, kind of an interesting day around here. You are in your house and I'm in my house. We're kind of recording remotely, but it's weird around my house because for the first time in a long time, it's just me. No kids, no wife, no nanny, just me and the dog. And it's weird when you're home alone and you kind of revert back to being a bachelor a little bit. You're currently a bachelor, so I'm not sure if you'd understand, but little things that you would do when you're single and by yourself at home, you kind of take for granted when, you're with somebody for 10 years and you have kids and such and you're finally left home alone.
Like watching porn on a 100-inch screen?
No, and let me tell you why.
You have a big ass picture window that people can
right,
see.
Yeah, because I have a picture window, yeah. And there's a church right across the street. So I don't need people going in and out of the Greek Orthodox church across the street to see 100 inches of Asian lesbians making out.
Well, I was going to say, maybe you just throw on one of those Italian church nun porns.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, then maybe I'll do that on a Sunday morning. Right now, as we record, this is a Saturday morning. But no, like little things like peeing with the door open in the bathroom. It's not a luxury that I have too much anymore, but there's something nice about it when you could just kind of mosey through the house and pee with the door open.
I've always had roommates.
Mm-hmm.
I currently have a roommate. And so sometimes, when the roommate's not around, I'll kind of take control of the lair.
Yeah.
And peeing with the door open is something that I don't do when I'm alone. I still tend to close the door when I pee.
No,
I'm a very private bathroom user. I've had friends come over and they'll just walk in and a female friend just walk in and start using my bathroom with the door open, and my house is very small.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't want to hear that shit splashing around the toilet.
Fair enough.
I always wonder how people can do that with other people around. The lack of boundaries within certain households astounds me.
Yeah.
Because my household, I just got used to having the bathroom door closed, and it's that's your private time. That's
nice.
the one spot where nobody else in the family is going to bother you.
Mm-hmm.
So I never pee with the door open.
That's your sanctuary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Dave time.
All right, coming up later in the episode, we have our talk with Sarah Minnich, who plays Brenda on Better Call Saul. And what kind of makes it interesting is she was also in Breaking Bad, albeit briefly, as, I guess, a hanger-on of Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah, I went and watched that scene. It's the one scene. They're having a house party, and she's the one that's dancing on him. Literally on him.
Yeah.
Which she said that was why they had to change her credit from an extra to a day player, which it's a different pay scale, I think.
Yeah.
And totally different credit. So it's still, party girl.
Yeah.
But it's an actual credit.
Gotcha.
And I thought I assumed that she made such an impression somehow that they brought her back for Saul.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it's not the case.
Well, maybe it's the same character. Make sure that you guys check that out over at our other podcast. It's Saul Goodman. Yeah, it's Preview with the Prior, which is like our end of week episode for It's Saul Goodman. It's not really a different show. It's just kind of like its own little segment, I guess, so to speak.
It's our way of padding the stats.
Right, pretty much. Yeah. We it's our way of getting extra listeners. So, Dave, I found this interesting news story that you might think is kind of funny from MassiveLive.com.
Hit me with it.
Okay, hold on. I don't know why that made me laugh, but
this is why I like Skyping. Like, people don't know. Sometimes we're over the phone. Sometimes we're over. We're FaceTiming right now,
right?
And it's so much better with the video because we can make faces at each other, and kind of distract each other. And you guys, the audience, is none the wiser.
Right. So, Dave, you and I, we come from a small town. And the thing about coming from a small town, our town literally has, 3 stoplights where we're from?
Yeah, I think there's plans for a 4th, but they're trying to, put in the budget.
Yeah, it's been stuck in red tape for several years at the city council, the 4th stoplight. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. The town Dave and I is from, it was a big deal when they brought a Pizza Hut Express in because the town didn't need apparently 7 pizza places. A town of 3,000 people didn't need 7 pizza places. 6 could do just enough. Well, 7 would have pushed it past the tipping point.
Well, to be completely full disclosure, it's 5,000 people and growing. It is growing very fast, this town.
Yeah, I guess I'm stuck on 3,000 people because when we graduated high school, it was 3,000, and it's
now it's over
years.
5. It might be even be over 6 at this point. But a pizza place per 1,000 people, it seems. I don't know. I don't know if that's actually a good ratio or not. But when you throw the 7th pizza place into a fucking small town, you're going to put all the other pizza places out of business.
Yeah.
And my argument was, well, Pizza Hut sucks.
Yeah, exactly. So the story kind of reminded me of that because our small little town, like many small little towns across the country, has ran into giant, big drug problems, specifically in heroin, which apparently is on the rise again, and
rampant.
And this story reminds me totally of our hometown because this is exactly how I could see stuff playing out. So Northampton troopers find 230 bags of heroin after suspect whispers, "I don't think they found all the stuff in the car."
Oh, that sounds like something that somebody would say in our tiny little town after they got done talking to the police.
Exactly.
Really said that. I was so shocked I didn't laugh. That's so funny.
State troopers missed hundreds of baggies filled with heroin during their first search of a car that they stopped on Interstate 91 in Hatfield, New Jersey, according to court documents. On February 17th, Massachusetts State Police arrested, I'm not going to put their names on here, just a bunch of 3 fucking idiots.
Yeah.
After searching their car, and the reason they were pulled over was they were going 11 miles per hour over the speed limit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. Okay, so our little town, to draw another parallel, our little town is located 15 miles south of Joliet.
Yeah.
And that's a couple 100,000 people, and then another half an hour to Chicago.
Right.
But the tiny town in between gets a lot. Their police blotter is constantly full of drugs found in the car because the person was speeding down a rural highway.
Right.
It's why the hell do you speed down a rural highway when you can have a felony's worth of drugs in your car?
Right, exactly. That's one thing I don't understand. You would think that, okay, so drinking and driving is way more taboo than it was even like 10 years ago, but I'm sure we've all heard people be like, "Oh, I'm good at drinking and driving because
I'm better when I drink because I pay attention to the road."
Right, yeah, I'm more conscious because I don't want to get pulled over. Right? The same thing, a lot of potheads and people who get high and drive do the same thing.
Yeah.
But the absolute last thing I would do if I was carting any illegal materials would be speed. Like in that instance, I would be able to say, if I was one of these jackasses, I would be able to say, yes, heroin makes me a better driver because when I'm hauling it in my car, I would mind I'd be like waving on people at stop signs that aren't even there. like I would have my blinker on 2 miles down the road, waving people by. Like anybody that had a flat tire or anything, I would just stop, pull over, and help them just for the goodwill. Like I couldn't imagine, and then having to explain to other people that what did you win is you just couldn't drive 55. After spotting a crack pipe sitting on the front passenger's thigh, why wouldn't they put the crack pipe away?
Oh Lord!
Right, like that. You see red, white, and blues coming up behind you. I would think that if you had a crack pipe, you would at least try to like stick it in the seat cushion or something. Why would you leave that hanging on your thigh?
Fucking sit on it.
Right.
Well, I'm already busted out. Maybe they thought if the cops get them for the crack pipe, they won't search the car.
Yeah.
You know, you take the little punishment to avoid the big punishment.
Right. Troopers did search the vehicle, found 2 additional crack pipes, several bags of heroin and crack cocaine, a digital scale with heroin residue on it, and hypodermic needles on the car floor. They were out to party, man.
I'll say that's 2 thoughts. Either one, these guys are kind of smart because they smoke the crack, sell the heroin, so they don't get high on their own supply.
Right, yeah.
Or they're shooting snowballs or speedballs, doing uppers and downers, and they're fucked, and they're going to end up like John Belushi and Chris Farley.
Fat?
Dead.
Oh.
Uppers and downers. You can't do uppers and downers, man. You got to just stick with one. Your body gets confused and starts to hit you.
Okay. While transporting the suspects from the state police barracks in Northampton to the Hampshire County Jail, troopers originally heard one of the suspects whisper, "I don't think they found all the stuff in the car." Like, just shut up.
Yeah. What?
Right to remain silent, dude. That's another thing. If I was going to
exercise your human rights.
If I was going to start running drugs, I would think I would do some reading up on rules and rights and such.
Well, I think if I was running drugs, I'd just keep my mouth shut if the cops didn't find them.
Right. That's like the number. Even if you're speeding, they always say just shut up.
Right.
Like don't say anything and incriminate yourself.
I mean, it's just as bad as the guy that gets pulled over for swerving and he says, "Here, hold my beer," to the cop.
Right. Exactly. So all you drug runners out there, I guess Dave and I's official advice would be just shut up.
Yeah, well, remember we did the article in the broadcast about the guys that turned themselves in because they got too paranoid?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just shut up.
Yeah. So it's
just shut up. We did a whole episode. We did an entire episode about fake it till you make it. Act like you're supposed to be there and you're supposed to be there. So act like you're innocent and you might be innocent.
Indeed. It's Saturday morning. The wife and I, since the grandparents have the children, we're going to the Cubby Bear in Wrigleyville in Chicago, and we're going to go see MC Chris.
That's pretty dope. That's 2 Nerdcore shows. That's 2 Nerdcore shows in 2 weeks. Yeah,
well, the thing is I once again I like that kind of music because it doesn't take itself too seriously.
You're a nerd.
It's just well, one, I'm a nerd, but 2, it's just silly fun.
Oh, it is.
I love live music. It's silly fun. But speaking of silly fun, you saw a great show in Palatine last night, right?
Yeah, I saw this band called Here Come the Mummies, which this is one of those bands where I tell people this band is amazing. Mm-hmm. This is one of my favorite live shows of any band I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And when I start to mention it's a band called Here Come the Mummies and they dress up like mummies, nobody takes me seriously.
See, I don't understand that. Like, because what's funny? I bet a lot of people that don't take you seriously also at the same time have listened to like Kiss. You know what I mean? Like, or Gwar, or just about any 80s band. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess. But the thing is, like, the crowd that goes, because they sell out. They play smaller 1,000 person venues, and they sell out.
Yeah.
And their main publicity, like the reason people mostly heard of them is through Bob and Tom, the morning radio show, syndicated morning radio show.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of like white suburban businessmen types that listen to Bob and Tom's demographic.
Right.
So that's what comes out to the show, which is funny because they were actually booked at a venue I have a relationship with. They lost the show, but I kept telling these guys, like, you have no idea how many people are coming. And they were literally like laughing at me with this condescending, like, ha, 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 laugh.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I was standing in a club last night where I literally had to avoid crowds and being pushed around. It was like,
right, and you have to do that weird swim thing where like you like stick a hand out in front of you to like wedge yourself between people as you moved. Yeah.
Yep. You're tapping people on the shoulder. The worst is they have these little girls. Okay, these not little girls. They have these women small in stature that walk around with shot trays.
Yeah.
None of them were over 5'5".
Uh-huh.
So you just see this tray in the air with a light. The tray's got a light on it, and they're just holding it straight in the air for hours. And I don't know if there's a rule they can't touch anybody because they would just stand there and wait for an opening. And I was kind of by the door, so I had to constantly tap the person in front of me so that they would turn around and see this girl trying to get through. They would just stand there like with the drink tray in the air, like waiting to get through. And I'm like, for one, maybe get the 5'10" girl to do it, you know? And but it was so crowded and so packed and so much fun. And everybody has such a good time. And nobody believes me how great this band is.
Well, the thing about the band is it's rumored that it's actually a bunch of well-known musicians or like a rotating roster of well-known musicians.
It's either well-known musicians or like session players that may be under some contracts or something. So they keep their identities a secret, which it's genius to me because it's on their Wikipedia. There's lots of speculation about it. And then they do meet and greets after the show like a comedian would do. Not a lot of bands do stuff like that.
Right.
And all they do is grunt at you and they don't talk. They stay in character the whole night. So they're just like,
that's amazing.
And they take a selfie with you. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. We're going to have to try to get them on the show, but I'm glad you had a fun time. You talked about them often. And for those of you listening, please check out Here Comes the Mummies and stay tuned for our talk with Sarah Minnich from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. You there?
I'm here.
Sarah, you there?
I'm here.
All right. Sarah, welcome to Preview with the Prior. It's the part of our Better Call Saul podcast where Dave and I speculate about upcoming episodes, often incorrectly. So it's so if we get a little silly and get a little stupid, I totally apologize in advance.
I'm sure the network loves your shenanigans.
Enough to send us swag.
Yeah. We got to send out T-shirts this year. Here's what happened. They sent me a box of T-shirts, which is absolutely awesome. But what's happening is I live in a Chicago flat, like a Chicago 3 flat. So my space is limited. So I keep picking up this box of AMC T-shirts and like setting them down somewhere else, only to run into them again to pick them up and put them back somewhere else in my apartment. So we're trying to unload them to listeners as much as possible.
So AMC T-shirts everywhere.
Freaking everywhere. Well, for those of you that don't know, on the phone is Sarah Minnich. I got that last name right? Right.
Actually, it's Sarah Minnich. It's a common error. So don't feel bad.
Man!
No, don't worry.
He finally thought he got it right.
Well, no, I got Mark Proksch right, and then I was feeling confident. I thought I could do it, and Sarah, I messed up your name. I apologize.
Don't worry. Everybody does it. I even had casting directors introduce me to directors as Sarah Minnich. That's okay. Everyone learns Sarah Minnich.
Well, for our listeners, Sarah plays Brenda on Better Call Saul, right?
That's right. I play Brenda, the front desk operator at Hamlin and McGill.
That's awesome. So, we've had all sorts of cast members on and members of the team and everything like that. And what's so intriguing about your character, it's not one of the big three, but I wanted to get your perspective of what it's like on set while watching, I guess, everything on the show happen around you. First off, that office, that's a set, right? Or are you at location?
It's a location, actually. It's this massive. I mean, I can see where you might think it's a set because it's just so perfect.
Right, yeah.
But it's actually this, yeah, right. It's this huge office location in Albuquerque. I can't say where it is, obviously, but it's it's a really cool place. You know, it's like 3 stories, and I remember being on set once with extras. Well, I can't call them extras. Sorry, background workers. Pardon me.
Yeah, there you go.
To all the background folks out there. I remember being on once and just having like every balcony of the, every level balcony, 3 stories above me filled with background players, and it's just. It's really quite breathtaking, being at the lobby level and just seeing the size of this place. It's a pretty humongous and sort of all-encompassing place. You can really feel the energy there.
Yeah, and you're actually from Albuquerque, or you lived there for a while, right?
I am a transition Albuquerquean, right? So let me explain what I mean by that. So I come from California originally. I was born and raised there. And I didn't really, my personality, my energy didn't really fit there. I did sing, but it just didn't fit there. And so my parents moved to Albuquerque, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to follow them and go to college and get a couple of degrees and then pursue my acting career there. And I did, and it's worked, and I don't want to leave.
Well, how great is that? You're now on a show that's, based in Albuquerque. I mean, that's got to feel good, right? I mean, it's not like a lot of shows are always like located in 4 places, like Miami, New York, Chicago, and LA. Like Breaking Bad was like the first real big one that I could think of that was Albuquerque. And then of course, Better Call Saul, and you being a transplantationist. Transplantationist. I mean, is that exciting for you to be like working on this big show that's like filming in your town?
Heck yeah. And you know what else? Like what it gives me hope that this show and, Breaking Bad sort of brings more film and television work to this region, because we have great talent. We have great crew, and people don't always associate that with Albuquerque, with New Mexico. And they're starting to, because of Breaking Bad, because of Better Call Saul. And all of a sudden, we're getting all of these fantastic shows in. We're getting these opportunities, films, television shows, AMC starting up another show out here. It's like nice. The sky's the limit here. And I'm so glad to finally see stuff coming out this way.
That's gotta be super exciting.
It is. It gives me, because I'm kind of tired of people saying, oh, well, you can't succeed unless you live in Los Angeles or in New York. And I'm not making fun of anyone specifically at all. I'm just saying that, you know what? Forget that. That's not true. I know so many people that are really, can I say ass?
Sure.
Yeah, they're kicking ass out here. That are.
You can say whatever you like on our podcast. It's okay.
Oh boy. You give me an inch, I'll take a mile, buddy.
Bring it on.
No, yeah, absolutely. But you were also an extra in Breaking Bad.
Well, I have a question.
Actually, I was considered a date. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, are we going to see a character arc or a story of how Brenda becomes the girl hanging all over Jesse Pinkman at a house party?
Ah, you totally took my question.
Look at you two trying to speculate.
It is preview the prior.
I can't even answer that. I can't answer that. But to your question about what I did in Breaking Bad, actually, I had the honor of being a D player, and the reason they cast it through SAG-AFTRA on that part is because, I was actually like literally body to body with Aaron Paul, and he's a really down to earth, cool guy, and I've never seen somebody so intensely in their character. Like I was super impressed with his work and with kind of how he got into that character, how he sort of just transitioned right there on set, and all of a sudden he was Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad and not Aaron Paul anymore. It was pretty epically amazing learning experience for me to watch him.
I'm really glad that you said that because it's a pretty well-known thing that he was supposed to be killed off after the first season, and they really liked him and kept him around. So to know that that's, part of
that just goes to show.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah,
it goes to show that, just because they think necessarily that an actor is not going to, huge in the show, or just because somebody may have a small part to begin with, or they may have small plans for someone, mean that character turn into, a huge part of the plot line.
Yeah.
And I think that's the case that happened with him, and it could happen again. You never know.
With whatever job you get, you put all of yourself into it, and you never know what's going to happen.
Except for podcaster, we kind of half-assed that. And
But yes, you guys love it. I can just tell by your voices. You love this. You eat this alive.
Oh yeah, we do, absolutely. We get ripped on by our fans, and we encourage it, and we talk smack back and forth. It's wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Me and Dave have just been taking a beating these past couple of weeks for saying stupid things about Better Call Saul. Like, not stupid bad, just like completely incorrect, that even Dave and I are like, how the hell did we ever think that's what happened? So
You're getting like calls from the network, just like with, hush please, I think,
Yeah,
or just by the fans.
like, dude, stop your podcast. This is terrible. So that leaves me. Did the Breaking Bad, was that Brenda? Like, did she have a name, or was it just coincidental that you were in both shows? Because I don't know if there's anything to it, but Dave obviously asked the question, and I totally want to be the person. If nobody's asked about it before, I totally want to be the venue for which people are like, oh my God, did you hear about this connection? Like, I want that to be our thing.
It's actually like all over the place. I've been seeing people making connections between different characters and possible, tie-ins all over the place. Now, okay, so when I originally got cast, I had this conversation with my agent, Carissa Mitchell, and she told me, she's like, I really want to sit you in for Better Call Saul if I can, but at the same time, you are already in Breaking Bad. And see, I'm like trying to really monitor my words to make sure I don't step on any toes. And apparently, like, she talked to the casting director, and the casting director, let's just put her in. And then my audition was actually with Peter Gold and Vince Gilligan, right? And that was my callback. They were there, and some of the producers, and of course the casting director. And so they knew who I was. They were like, so wait, you were in Breaking Bad? And I was like, yes, I was. Hello. Thank you for having me here again today. So they were totally aware that I was that person, and I'm not going to hypothesize about what went on in their heads because, obviously I'm not in their heads, but I'm sure they know and have a plan for everything. These guys are pretty brilliant, as I'm sure all of you would agree, all of you, meaning all the fans and you two, would agree that they've got some pretty incredible ideas. So,
and just for the record, just because, I said I wanted to be like the genesis of that whole theory, and you said it's already out there, but just for the record, I'm just going to go ahead and take credit for anybody that thought of it before me. So anybody that put two and two together, you're welcome. I'm glad I could do that for you.
Well, when I said that, I actually mean, like, I've seen other characters referenced. Like, I just saw on Facebook so I'm good friends with the guy that plays Ernie or Ernesto, right? You've seen him. He's played by Brandon K. Hampton, and he's one of my buddies. And there was a bunch of, like, hypothesizing about who he could potentially be. So I know it's kind of going around. So by all means, coin the connection that you have just made as your own, my friend.
Yeah, finally.
Oh, yes. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not confirming nor denying anything.
I think maybe a confirmed rumor that Aaron Paul is going to be on Better Call Saul. So that's where it is the same
Interesting.
And then when
Dave and I keep going with the theory that, like, eventually Jimmy is going to cause Kim's termination from her place of employment. And Dave thinks she's going to die in a horrible fashion. So, but just recently, Dave.
Yes.
Yeah, Dave. Why is that, Dave?
I never said horrible fashion.
I wonder what Ray Seahorn would think about that. She's such a lovely woman, too. She'd probably be like, come on, man.
Ray Seahorn is actually the first cast member that we interviewed.
Yeah.
And kicked off the entire interviewing actors and things that we do, actually. So she's very special to our podcast, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've really taken to her. In season one, I didn't I didn't really develop a relationship with her. But when season two, started and I went in, it was like seeing a big sister. I was like, yay, there's my buddy. And, and we kind of connected there. And so I have a lot of respect for her.
Well, that's good. It seems like everybody on the show, no matter, you never hear anything bad. Even in tabloids, you never hear anything bad about the behavior of people on set. It just seems like everybody
it's like the cast of Leave It to Beavers making a TV drama.
Right, like everybody gets along. It's like a very friendly set. That's good to hear.
I think that probably has something to do with the fact too that people are probably fairly careful to not, talk shit about anyone or about any events that happen because we love our freaking jobs.
Also true.
Awesome. Well, Sarah, we won't keep you too long, but we are super excited because I get the feeling there's a little bit more Brenda that's going to come out as season 2 unfolds. And today it was announced not too long ago that Better Call Saul was picked up for season 3. So I hope that. How exciting!
I saw it today, and I just shared it on Facebook, and I was like, yes, bring it on.
And we were like, yes, because we get to do this for another season.
Right, yeah, we get to pretend like we're important.
Well, you guys are important. I mean, you got to get the word out there. You got to build the hype about it, right? I mean, that's all part of the system that is entertainment.
Yeah, and we try to keep our listeners interactive so that way they pay more attention and maybe rewatch it a couple more times. We ask trivia questions that we reward with our T-shirts and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Well, I kind of want a T-shirt now. Can I get a T-shirt, or is this like a in-club thing?
All guests of It's All Good Men podcast receive an AMC T-shirt.
I'm willing to bet you already have way cooler swag than a T-shirt.
I do have some BCS swag, to be quite honest with you. But I mean, you guys seem like you're pretty cool peeps too. So
let me ask you this: when you're on set, do you ever see like a cup or something laying around where you just kind of think, this would be like a cool keepsake for the rest of my life, and you just kind of want to take it off set?
Wow,
that's an awful big hesitation.
Look, yeah, I'm just saying if I was on a hit team, I don't think I'd be able to resist. Like, even if it was just like an ashtray or something, I'll be like, yeah, you know what? I don't smoke, but I could totally use that ashtray. Like, I'll just put that in my pants pocket. Like, I would be so tempted. Do you ever okay, let me ask it this way. Are you ever tempted to do that? Like, does the thought ever cross your mind?
I will tell you this. So Brenda's desk is literally the command module for the actual building camera system thing. Okay, so the building that it's filmed in has a camera system that basically monitors everything that goes around in the parking lot and all those shenanigans. And I am frequently looking at all these little knobs with their little video feeds popping, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to turn that knob right now and see if this car over, if what camera this turns, or if I can randomly see something, and so one time on set, I was sitting behind, in my nice little Brenda desk, and I was just, I don't know, I was talking to the guy that plays Ernesto, and because we're friends, and I was like, what if I just touch this knob right here and see what happens? And so, I mean, this is so low level, I'm getting a huge kick out of this, and it's nothing, right? So I barely touched the knob, and the camera's like, and turns and looks at some other part of the parking, and that was the most scandalous thing to me. And I know that sounds completely Like, oh my God, really? It's a camera. It moved a little bit. Who's this lady? But for me, that was such scandal. It was such scandal. So I was like, oh my God, somebody's going to come and they're going to like fire me now because I touched this.
Well, if
I'd
Jimmy
be turning
can get away
knobs
with
all day.
If Jimmy can get away with flipping the light switch, I think you can get away with turning knobs.
Yep.
I turned it back. I totally turned it back. Nobody got in trouble, But for a minute there, my ears got a little bit warm because I was a little nervous there for a minute. Thought security was going to come get my ass. I think I'm a little bit of a scaredy cat when it comes to pissing people off. I'm like, I don't want to get anybody mad, so I'm just going to not do this. It's kind of boring, actually. It's kind of boring.
Well, I don't think you're boring at all, Sarah. Thank you so much for coming on Preview with a Prior. It's been absolutely awesome. I can't wait to see what they have in store for Brenda, and I can't wait to start rumors about what they have in store for Brenda. It's going to be like my favorite part.
Goodness.
But, hopefully, you'll be in all the way into season 3 as well, and I hope you come back at a later time on our podcast. We love I had a great time talking to you, and I hope you come back and talk to us again sometime.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, you guys. It was a blast talking to you. I love being a dork and getting a chance to be silly. So thanks for letting me be silly.
Yeah,
anytime.
Anytime. And before you go, if there's anything that you want to plug, I know you got some upcoming projects and such. If you want to plug your Twitter, webpage, any of that stuff, you can go ahead and do that.
Oh my gosh. So I think people should check out Priceless, the movie that's coming out. I have a supporting role in that. Check it out. You can find me on Twitter at, I think my Twitter is Sarah A. Minnich, and my Instagram is sarah.minnich, but who knows?
You know what? I'm glad I'm not the only one, because I always mess up the Twitter handle for our podcast. And we do like 3 of these a week.
I know. So. Like, how are you supposed to memorize all these things? Just,
right.
Sarah Minnich. Look it up. I'm sure you'll find it.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Minnich, thanks for being on our show.
Thanks, guys.
I got one
Good
hand
to
clapping. All right. Thank you, Sarah. All right, Dave, that was Sarah Minnich. Super cool girl, right?
Yeah, that was
Sorry, let me rephrase that. Super cool woman. I don't want to sound sexist in today's day and age, but just a very, very nice person. She seemed very, very easy to talk to, and it's kind of fun that her character, albeit not one of the one of the main cast, it's fun that she's kind of bridged both series.
Yeah, and with 2 different characters apparently, which is pretty cool. Because I assumed that maybe she was in like the what they call it, the day player, and then they just impressed by her. Maybe she caught someone's eye, so then they brought her back for this role. But to audition separately for it and still get the part. But then they did remember, so maybe it all ties in together.
Well, so my thing on that is either A, in that moment, Peter Gould and Vince Gilligan had an idea that they could make the connection, or they just thought it'd be funny because they knew eventually somebody would make the connection.
Right, which I totally did. So that's there you go.
Yeah, yeah, and what's great, I have a little bio for Sarah here. She's done so much. So those of you out there, please make sure to check out her website, IMDb, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. But her bio kind of hints that she's going to have a little bit of a story arc, and I absolutely hope so, because she just seems like such a sweet person. And you know me, I love to see people that are genuine, nice people. I like to see them succeed and be successful. So I hope she does.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, good people deserve good things.
Absolutely.
And,
awesome.
Do you want to finish the tweets up real quick, or do you want to do that later?
All right, Dave. So before we get off, what hit me with the tweets, my friend?
I just wanted to recognize a couple people. I think I already said Aaron Taylor for the cactus moment. That's going to be our new thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe a T-shirt is coming your way, my friend.
Chester Copperpot for claiming that plops are more accurate without me around. And then Brian goes on to mess up the biggest thing of the next episode. That's pretty sweet. Eric Smith, Eric with an A, for for letting me know what Crazy 8 shirt said. Thank you very much for that.
Mm-hmm.
Mall of America, MAUL of America, our favorite Twitter handle fan so far.
Dude, that is such a great Twitter handle.
Yeah.
Mall of America. Oh, that's great. Okay.
He defended me on the Jimmy calling Kim just because he wanted to be consoled and not to give her a heads up about Hamlin, and McGill. And for teaching us what rainmaking was by the context of his tweet. I did not know that. And the hashtag new cactus.
Yeah.
Brant for... Brant, we just love you, dude. You're awesome.
Yeah. Hashtag new cactus is hilarious. But what was the rainmaking? Like, that's such a great term, and I've never heard that before. But as soon as I read it, I knew exactly what he meant, and it was so appropriate. And I don't know.
I just thought of the John Grisham novel, The Rainmaker, which is about lawyers, and that's all. That's the only context I had for it. But yeah, pretty cool.
Oh, see, I didn't put it in that context. I was just like, oh yeah, like rainmaking, like. Yeah, and never mind. It made sense to me. I knew exactly what it meant, and I had never heard it in that context before.
Yes,
but I'm going to use it at random times, probably in drunken conversations when I'm pretending that I'm smarter than I am.
And the only thing I have as the T-shirt winners, Cody wins for the song identification, and
good job, Cody.
Carl Peluso for not only telling us about the macro for the 2 spaces after a period, but sending us a link.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we were kind of right, so it's like optional.
You were. I had no idea about that. I never used like word processing stuff and things of that nature. But
I don't even know what a computer is.
And my last little tidbit is that the episode that Sarah Minnich was in of Breaking Bad also contains Lawson. It's the scene where Walter buys the handgun off Lawson, and yes, he does talk the same way with all that really fancy jargon. Absolutely.
Gobbledygook.
Yes.
Did you know that's an actual term? That's an actual term. That's a real word for that kind of speak, is when somebody's speaking a lot of jargon. It's called gobbledygook. That's not a slang thing. That's an actual word.
That just sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook to me.
Exactly. Well, everybody out there listening, your Twitter participation this year has been absolutely off the charts. Those of you who have been hitting us up and writing me messages on Facebook, super cool. Just everything this year has been absolutely stellar for us so far. And I'm kind of sad, Dave, that it's almost half over. It is half over.
It's a bittersweet day. Appropriate that it's the Ides of March. Because this season's half over, but the 3rd season has been confirmed.
Yeah,
which means we got some work to do in the off season.
We do, absolutely. So, thank you, Sarah Minnich. Sorry for messing up your name, but thank you, Sarah Minnich, for coming on. We're going to have more people from Better Call Saul coming up, so stay tuned. I know that preview with the prior has kind of turned into like more of a gab session.
It's like
more of a better. We went from like half-assing predictions to it's kind of become a gab session, but I'm liking it, and you guys seem to be liking it, and it's just a lot of fun for me and Dave to be able to do this.
Yeah, we still sneak our previews and our speculations in there, but I like the mid show where we can address our fans and take our beatings.
Totally.
And we really, really appreciate that everybody is continuing to do this all with good humor, because we'll take it with good humor. You dish it with good humor. It's all good humor. Now I want an ice cream bar.
Absolutely. Guys, I tell you what, we got season 6 coming up in a little less than a week from the time that we record this.
Episode 6.
I hope you guys, episode 6. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend coming up, and we'll talk to you Monday. Have a great day, guys.
We spoke to Patrick Fabian twice, and he just loves talking to us because he can just kind of not be so stiff and just jack around with us.
Yeah.
He's the nicest guy in the world,
I probably fit right in. Isn't he great? He's such a nice human.
Yeah, he seems like a very nice gentleman.
He's a cool dude. Like, and his, he's always been really nice to me. And it's kind of scary walking on big sets like that because you're kind of afraid they're going to be like, who the fuck are you?
Right.
But Fabian was always so chill. He was always really nice to me, always, made sure I wasn't like panicking or anything. He's really cool people.
It's all good, man. Hey, it's all